variations. So I'll try doing variations on this. This is my first variation right here. One, two, That's basically it, you know. Unless you have questions, you want to talk about any subject, I'm open. The main idea tonight was just to show off some grooves that maybe you're not familiar with, and hopefully you get something out of that. Also, you know, a lot of this stuff you can find on the net. You guys know that probably. I'm always amazed. I look up, just the other day, I was looking up rudiments just to see what's on there, and it was like 40 rudiments played, you know. So there was this guy just on the snare, rudiment number 1, you know, goes through every 40, and I was like, wow, didn't have that in my day, you know. We had to learn the hard way, you know. Didn't know what it sounded like. Rada McHugh, what the hell does that sound like? Anyway, everything's there. For me, anyways, the adventure has been to play with a lot of different folks, and I still enjoy it quite a bit. You know, I'm open if any of you want to call me and you know, book a session with me, whatever. I don't teach anymore. You know, but I'm into sitting down and going over concepts with somebody, you know, that's interested. I was teaching kids for a long time, and it just burned me right out. It's awful. So I can't do that anymore. And bless their hearts, but you know. Yeah, so anyways, if anybody wants to get a hold of me, you can. I've got cards, I've got these CDs for sale, and Dave's got lots of stuff for sale.
Well, you're pushing the metronome. It's on play.
Yes, yeah, for sure. You got to test your time all the time. You have to go back to the metronome, and it's tough. And I mean, I believe there's human time and there's metronome time. Metronome, human time, if it's like wavering a little bit around the metronome, it's not the end of the world, right? That's when the tune, the music grooves, really, when there's a bit of a, you know, I mean, if it goes up and it stays there, that's a different story, but, you know, just that little motion. I remember years ago, I played with this one band, and we were really tight together. We, you know, played like 3-4 years together, and we were playing all kinds of material. This would be in the 70s. And then one day we got somebody to sit in with us who was a very studied musician. And the first thing he noticed is that we sped up and slowed down together. Because we got so used to playing together, we didn't even notice it anymore, right? We'd be pushing a chorus and then relax back to the verse. You know? So that habits happen, you know. So you know, so I've been through all that. I played with lots of bands and made all the mistakes. And I'm still making them. So that's it. Any questions? Anything you want to address?
I'm curious. Could you give a tip or two to a drummer that also sings?
Yeah, that's a tough one, because I don't know if there's a secret to that, because I do sing and play, and I know that I go on automatic when I'm playing. It's like I don't even think about it. I could be reading a newspaper and playing it, you know. It's bizarre, and I've noticed that. I'd be in a club and bored with myself, let's say, and I'm looking around and I'm playing, and I don't even know where I'm in the tune, but you know, mechanically I'm just going, you know. So I don't know if there's a trick to that. I know that when I have to learn the vocals and the drum beat, if the drum beat and the vocals are a little tricky, let's say, like bass players find that hard, you know, singing, playing a bass pattern. There I have to kind of you know, bear down and go, oh yeah, this lyric pushes here, and you know, I analyze the mechanics of it.
Right.
I mean, that's what we do when we learn a rhythm, right? We learn the mechanics and how it's going to be played, and then eventually it just flows because we've done it, rehearsed it so many times. And it's the same with vocals. I mean, you just kind of learn the mechanics where, you know, even like I would write on my vocal chart, that lyric starts on the offbeat of 1, you know, stuff like that. I'd mark these little things so that I'd remember them, you know. That's all the only advice I can give you, you know. So
Cool.
it's a trial and error. We can do a lot of singing. Right?
A little bit, but I think similar to what you're saying, I think you kind of take care of the drumming part first, and then add the singing on
Yes.
top, but it can be challenging at times, especially like you're saying when the rhythm is maybe not super straight and the vocal line is maybe a little,
Oh, yeah.
you know.
Yeah, there's always that, because sometimes you have a drum beat that's very syncopated, very
Yes,
specific,
exactly.
and all of a sudden, it could be a 2-bar pattern, and it's nowhere near what the vocal is doing.
Right.
And it's like, oh, yeah, no, I know you're,
Practice.
yeah.
One vote for practice.
Steve Lowe always impressed me with that.
Yeah.
Steve Long, yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Niels' nephew, Steve Lund, has always sung and played, and I was always admired it because
Yeah,
you know,
it's
it
something
looks
that grows, it
effortless.
gets better with time.
yeah.
Yeah. Anybody else?
What about the business side, like, or you don't even wanna go there?
No.
Like, you know, making ends meet. Like,
Yeah.
I'm actually thinking about shifting more and more away and get out of what I do for a living and getting back more in the music scene like I did years ago.
Yeah.
So let me address this. In all seriousness, because I've heard this question a billion times.
Yeah.
And the best answer ever was, if you like music, or in this case, if it was an actor giving me advice, but we'll, pretend, Anyways, if you like music, that's great. If there's something else you'd like to do in life, or you do that, because you'll never be happy as a musician. And that is the best advice ever. I mean, which is not to dissuade you from doing anything, but if you kind of like your other job, don't stop doing it. You'll regret it.
It's tough. You see, for me, I went full-time in like 1970. And it was a time where there was a lot of work, so it was an easy decision. I was young and it was parties, and, so it was an easy decision then. But as it progressed into the 80s, well, that's when I had to study and get serious about my playing. If I'm going to be playing gigs where I have to read, and that's where the money, the paying gigs were. You had to read music, so there's things you have to do to achieve that goal. Now, the guys our age that are retiring, and you probably have a pension plan, and it's easy to go and line up with a band and play weekends, and it's fun. You're not living off that. It's very hard to do right now, unless you're Matt and playing a very successful band.
Even still, it's tough. It's really tough.
Yeah.
Flexibility is important. If someone phones you up and says, "Can you play style X?" the answer is yes. And if you can't yet, you will by the time you get to the gig. And you literally have to be able to play anything. There's just, you can't say, "No, I specialize in surf music."
Yeah.
Not at all. You can do that in a larger market, but in a place like Ottawa, you gotta play it all. Like, there's just no way around that. And when you get to the gig and they count to 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever it is, you're there, and you bring it every time.
And I would say that's probably true beyond Ottawa.
Yeah, no, that's true, but
Absolutely.
it's just that whole thing, it's just, whatever they call you for, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do that, sure. And
Now-
then you have to do it, of course.
Now, or you can do like I did. I married a woman with means. She had a good job, made money, and she didn't mind holding the fort when I
That
had
doesn't
to
last forever,
leave
right?
months.
Depending on what you do.
Yeah, yeah. Bruce, you're doing good out there. You're retired, right?
I'm retired, yeah, and
Playing
I
all the
hook
time.
up with a good band, and we're touring all over, and, so it's a new CD out, so it's pretty cool. And
Yeah. Is the money good?
No?
You don't care, right? You get
I
your
don't
pension.
Each tour costs less and less, right?
But like you say, you're retired and you got the time to do it. and
Yeah.
If you're still digging it, then, why not?
Oh, yeah. No, I see more and more guys doing that, for sure. But, it's, for me, guys like me that have been full-time all this time, now it's getting hard. I don't have a great pension, and,
Yeah, it's tough.
so it's not so easy now.
Not those 30 or 40 gigs on a Friday night that you could go and play at any time.
No, and all the clubs now, you're playing for the door.
Yeah,
And some guys are playing for a money jar.
Yeah, pizza.
It's pretty sad out there.
Well, you can always pay for exposure.
Right.
That's the oldest one, eh?
Yeah.
Come and
So-
play for free, exposure.
Keep your job.
Yeah. That's the,
Well, we're down in the States, so we're getting paid in American money, so.
oh, that's good.
$20 there, it's like $100 here.
Yeah, but you could get shot.
Anything to play?
You don't talk about politics.
No. Don't wear the color red or blue, right? Gray is so neutral. Yeah.
So,
Coming back to the reading part, is it just a matter of practice? Because sometimes I sit down and read and look at, by the time there was a quarter note, I thought a quarter note and an 8-note rest, and by the time I figure it out, boy, I'm way behind, you know?
well,
Is
that's,
it just practicing?
yeah, that's, indeed it is, and, you know, the best book to work out of, what's the name of that book? I think it's called Syncopation. It's an old, the oldest. Yeah, I mean,
Even I have this book.
that's like the Bible. I mean, everybody, I was surprised. I went to Hamburg, they pull out this book. I go to New York, they pull out this book. Because there's hundreds of ways of playing that book. Everything that's written there, you know, it's all there. It's like just a matter of getting used to it. And one of the things I used to practice a lot is, you know, if there's a quarter note and 2 8 notes, let's say, I'd assign the quarter note to the bass drum and the 8 notes to the snare or whatever, you know. So I divided it up so it sounded more musical. And you'll be surprised how your reading will get better with that, because they start making sense. They're not just, you know, syncopation, they're like a phrase.
Yeah, the other thing too, if you think of it as a language, it makes a
Yeah.
difference. It's like, you know, it's like if I was speaking French, I'm never translating. I just, you know, it's the same thing with music. If you want to speak music, you have to see it, and it has to be just an automatic thing, right? So,
I also have to say that there's not that many drum charts out there per se. I've done gigs for years, and nobody knows how to write drum charts. So they end up writing maybe some syncopated parts here and there that they want shots. But the rest of it is just a map of the tune. So really, even people like Steve Gadd, I remember an interview where he said if he has a piece of music in front of him that he's in the studio and he has to look at for the first time and play, he'll just scan it and see where the problem areas are. You know, he sees something that's very syncopated, very specific. He'll zero in on that, because the rest of it is groove, right? It's not going to be syncopated every bar. You know? So, but your reading is just over and over. I mean, I can confess that I'm not a great reader. I went to Humber to better my reading and played with the big band. But, and I did, but then I go through years of not reading, and, you know, and then it slacks off, and then I gotta, you know, bring it back up again, because you know, if you don't read for a while,
Which do you enjoy more, reading it or just playing it?
just playing it, yeah. I mean, there are times when reading it really works because it's just flows, right? The form is there, everything is there, and the information's there, you know. Like some of the tunes we did, that, you know, it helps if you see the form that you're gonna solo on that form. If you visualize it, it's so much easier than just listening.
And you know it's coming.
Yeah, plus my memory's not what it used to be. I mean, I find I need charts more and more, you know. So.
None of ours is, so.
Yeah, you good?
Yeah, I'm good. Everybody have a good time? So if we do more of these?
Oh, yeah.
I'll send Phil an email. Lights, I guess one question. the show.
Well, right, green room, for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe set up a little bar in the morning.
Nice,
Some candles, maybe?
So I do have some door prizes. My suppliers, I said I was doing this. Peter does not endorse anybody, I don't think, right? He's got no
No.
endorsements, he just does this, buys what he likes. But I knew he played Big Bird Sticks and, what else? Evans Drumheads, I think he.
Yeah, Evans,
Whatever,
switched
so I just
Evans.
emailed these people and they just sent me a bunch of stuff, so I think everybody here kind of signed up on, like, you didn't? All right, what's your name?
Davina Pearl.
Davida, I'll write that down and throw you in the pot.
So to speak.
It's legal.
Davina Pearl and Louis Bro.
Okay. Hang on.
Louis Bro, any relation to Lenny?
bro.
His dad wrote a play about Lenny.
Yeah?
Yeah. Was it called 5 O'Clock Bells? Is that right? Yeah, his dad is Pierre Bro. He wrote a play
Oh,
about Lenny.
yeah, it's a different spelling bee.
Is it?
Yeah.
Different spelling, yeah, thank you.
Peter, how do you spend your week practicing? Like, just, you know what I mean? Do you still do it, or?
Well, I did for this, and it's funny because I would go for an hour in the morning, an hour in the afternoon, and an hour in the evening. I just went nuts with it, and I haven't been for a long time, so this started maybe this summer. So I don't kind of get ready for this, because I thought, maybe I should prepare something. But that's what I've been doing, and you know, the more I did that, the more I look forward to it.
What did you do?
Well, I would practice, the warm-ups for sure, you know, go through warm-ups, independence, work on the double kick. I still haven't worked out how I'm gonna use it in anything. I was trying some of the tunes and it was like, this is not working. But, yeah, I try new things, and I'm always surprised. I'll come away from a practice after an hour and oh yeah, that was a pretty cool groove all of a sudden that I worked on, you know, it just came out of, I don't know what.